The content of this video is my experience in the morning. Could put it in another way, mornings, a morning in the life of a senior citizen. Now, when I put it this way, let me be clear that I want to see how a senior citizen's life is affected on a typical day. Perhaps you will get my purpose as I go along. As I set out for my usual walk this morning, it occurred to me that it's a good occasion to observe what I go through. This is different from someone who keeps an empty mind, and I did in the past days, not to reacting, not observing too much, but just walking along and not allowing your mind to work, asking questions like, look, what is this, or something like that. So that's different. So today, although I was going on the familiar road, the same familiar things, I asked some questions in my mind and observed certain things and went through what in Malayalam is called some anubhavam, which means really my experience, a lived experience. This is very good, and I may do it again, because all problems are problems that are lived by people. Put them in very abstract forms and you lose the connection between life and living and these statistics and theories. Let me get to the point. So this is Kollam, Kerala, and the place that I live, I stay, is a Tevalli. And I was going, I could use whichever tense, and I was going from my house to the Tevalli Bridge, where you have the Ashtabadi Lake, the beautiful Ashtabadi Lake. You enjoy the breeze and you come back. It's a distance of about 2 kilometers. So let me kind of record all the experiences that I had as I was walking this morning. And then it is up to you to transpose those experiences into some kind of points that come out, not only for me, but for you. So as I was walking up, you may not be familiar with any of these landmarks or even this town, but I have a feeling that many of our towns, many of our roads have the same problem. I just can't imagine that any place in India is different from the place I'm staying. So some of these problems may be, problems that you have experienced, or that's my problem too, or something like that. So as I was coming up, a milk truck came very sharply. There's a sharp road, downwards road. Came sharply. It's a heavy truck. Came sharply down and then took a turn, so on. And that happens almost every day, every morning. And I have this reflex action of saving myself and keeping a distance, sometimes very, very far, very much cautious from the road. This happened even today. The next one, and this is very important, and this is the beginning, the same thing will happen again. The next one is as I was climbing up, the space given for the pedestrian is hardly 1 foot. Then what he has to do, he can't go onto the road because he will be killed, there will be traffic, or he has to jump to some kind of slush or dirt. And this also is something I know, but today I experienced it. In a deliberate kind of sense, with mindfulness. So this happened, and then I went through it. I went forward, and there was the next thing that I noticed was that there was what is called in Malayalam Tattula, which simply means a makeshift chai shop. It's okay, that's fine, but it is jutting into the road and leaving very little space for the pedestrian, for the citizen to walk. There is no space to walk. So I somehow wriggled my way and managed with the space that I have and went on there. The next thing, another thing that I noticed was there was a lot of space in the homeopathic district hospital. Just close to that, enough of space in the hospital, so lavish space. So there was a contrast which I noticed, that there's a lavish space in the hospital precincts compound with a big garage for the director of military, the director of medical services of homeopathy, and very little for the pedestrian outside. There was a disproportion. I thought this is how it is, because after all, government offices are as some kind of a symbolic also of what was before. That is the colonial era. They are all very big people who have to be feared, and the bigger the office, the bigger the garage, the better. So I went on, and then there is horror of horrors. Before climbing onto the bridge, there's hardly any space for the pedestrian. I don't think it was even 6 inches. So then I have to be cautious because I have to return alive, and therefore I said to myself, look, let's be careful, and looked around to see whether any bus or any vehicle or any cars coming. Once it was clear that nothing was coming, the road was not so risky, so I thought I went on to the bridge. And there I found the walkway, the pathway of the bridge was filled with poles, iron poles, and all that kind of thing, some of them jutting across in a very dangerous fashion on both sides. Piled up on the walkway, on the path. It would be very risky to go there because you would either break your neck or perhaps get scratched or something like that by those things, in which case you're done for. There are plenty of things I could say on this, but I would want to keep this short because the purpose is something else. As I returned on the other side, there were prefabricated bricks piled up on the roadside, leaving no room whatsoever, not an inch of space for the pedestrian. This was in front of the office of the district superintendent of police. That was also something that I noticed. So actually, I want the experience of more, but I really want to see that this video does not kind of burden you with too much, because I know attention span is very little. But let me be quick, because that's the point I made. As I went to the vegetable market, which is not too far away, I encountered a lot of garbage on the left. But then when I went to the vegetable market, I found that the bill was about 4 to 5 times what it was about, say, 4 months ago. And that's what the papers the papers and the big economists and the people like that call inflation control and all that. They go by these big names. And then some of them are very amusing, the kind of names they come up with, like supply shocks or supply matters or something like that. They make it all a jargon, but the point is that what I paid 5 months ago was about 1/5 of what I pay now. So that hurts. Now I'm kind of done now. I'm going home now. My home is just about 10 minutes. But as I was walking, I pondered over this whole thing and asked myself a few questions. And one, the space I was wriggling through is a fundamental space, in the sense that if I do not have the space to walk on that public road, then my fundamental right to move around isn't there. So you talk about a fundamental right of life, right to life, also encompassing the right to move around on a public space. So suddenly these things come alive, that you really don't have the right to life, because you don't have the right to walk on that walkway, because you're a pedestrian. Now I understand that others may not have the same problem, because they'll be going by car or whatever other vehicle they may have. But I'm talking about the rights of the citizen here. Whether you go by car or something, I am deprived of that right every single day, because I either have to get back quickly or take care of my life. And this is the point that I want to make. It's difficult to, perhaps for all of you to relate to what I am saying, because all of us do not go through the same experiences. However, I do believe this channel is about sharing. I do believe that even the pain and discomfort of a senior citizen makes you think about what's going on. And I do think that somewhere you will be able to do something which will trigger off. I am not any expert on what to do next, but I did note that there are some very good judges, some people in the judiciary who act quickly. They see or they come across something like a flex board, which of course the Malayalis love these flex boards, they're in love with them. And the judge says, remove them within such and such days. Pretty good thing, for the citizen. So also things like that, similar thing, that you block a road and you have no qualms about it, you're quite happy. And the judge says, what? How can you block a road? Give me an explanation. So the judges are the only persons who are, I think, in my mind, in a manner of speaking, helping the citizens. Think about it. Let's see whether this sharing of my experience, which as I said, you may not have, is a point which you can feel even in an indirect way at this time. I hate to have to wish you, be happy or be great and all that, because I'm not exactly happy about these experiences. And to tell you, you should be happy is a lot of humbug. But I do think I could ask you to be safe, you know what I mean, and not to take any unnecessary risks. Be careful, very careful, because these dangers can come from the apathy and the lack of doing, a lack of duty, consciousness from our own authorities. Okay, take care.